everybody. Welcome to Adopted Gals Podcast. My name is Hawa Zabel.
My name is Famata Warfield.
And thank you so much for coming here, being a part of our channel, and for subscribing. And today we're so excited for the topic that we have at hand. I'm actually going to let Fatmata here introduce our topic because she was the one that actually had a personal experience with this topic that inspired the conversation that we're going to have at hand today.
We posted our first episode and I posted on my social media, and we have been getting some really good responses. And I was like, really happy about it. I'm like, wow, people actually are really interested in this. And people are like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch. I want to see you guys be a part of your journey. So it's been really good. I did receive one message from a woman that I used to go to church with way back in the day. And it kind of felt like we needed to make a video to create a better understanding for what this podcast is for. So she posted on one of our videos and she says, can I ask a question without being accused of judging? Are you both grateful for the adopted families that brought you into their homes and gave the benefits and privileges of being their kids? I can appreciate that there are things you wrestle with coming from an impoverished nation to a whole new culture. I guess my hope is that with the wrestle, you are able to find gratefulness for the life given. Adoption is always a sacrifice for families who decide that journey. For Mata, I know your adoptive family and their amazing heart for kids and adoption. And she asked that, and I'm like, honestly, that's a really good question to bring on. And not only that, because our podcast is a judgment-free zone. We want people to feel like they can ask any questions as long as you're respectful and it's coming from a good heart and you're not trying to attack us or try to bring us down or any of that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. When we initially started this podcast, we knew exactly what our intentions were, which is all coming from a good place. We knew we had our own personal story, and we also knew that there's plenty of other young women and men who are adopted who didn't really have this community and space that focused on them. Because there's a lot of different channels and resources for people who are adopting, but not so much for adoptees, especially as they become young adults. And so we knew we had good intentions. We're not here to try to offend anybody. We are very respectful. As you can see, we're very classy women. We've been raised properly by our family.
Our family did a good job raising us. I'm not gonna lie. That's one thing we do. They've done many good things. That's one of the great things that they really did in raising us. They really did.
Yeah, exactly. And so we don't have any ill intentions whatsoever. And so when we did hear this response from Emily's family friend, first, for anybody who was on our shoes, it could potentially be a triggering question because it's like, oh, well, you don't respect what we have going on.
What about the adoptee?
And what about the adoptee? That could be initially like what? Yeah. To be transparent, at first I was like, oh, well, dang, this is our first podcast, our first post, and this question is asked. But I really had to go back and meditate on the question and really try to figure out what space was this lady coming from when she was asking the question. And to me, it didn't seem like it was a place that was like harming. She already stated it's not of judgment.
She was curious, and like I said before, ask the questions that you feel like you gotta ask.
Right. And with that curiosity, I like those type of questions because it opens up exactly what we created the space for, which is dialogue. So Emily, maybe Fatmata.
We'll get to later why my name switches from Famata and Emily. We'll talk about that later.
I told her I was going to do a very good job of calling her Fatmata only, but so far I've not been doing that great. But it's okay. She'll forgive me. But Fatmata, maybe you can go into what...
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What do we mean when we say like, this space is a judgment-free zone for our listeners?
It really is. Like I said before, I'm going to keep saying it until we're blue in the face. Because it really is. We want it to be a safe place for people to come and ask appropriate questions without attacking. And if you have a question where we can help you in any way possible, ask that question. Because this podcast is going to be hitting on fluffy, light, fun topics and also very heavy topics that are going to be very triggering. They're going to be triggering to some people. They're also going to be triggering for us. And it's going to be like we said in our first episode, there's going to be times where it's going to be emotional. And we just want people to know that this is not coming from a mean or an awful place where we're trying to be mean to somebody or anything like that. We're just telling our story.
Right.
That's
right.
all it really is. It all comes from a good place. And we want you to be able to listen and to hear. And if you can keep yourself from being triggered, try the best that you can from that and just listen.
Yeah.
Listen and understand.
As Fatmata is saying, listening is key in this area. And with judgment free, be curious. We want you to be curious, ask questions, be respectful. We really want people to stay away from attacking each other's views. This is not what this podcast is for, because everyone has their own experience, their own story, and it's all valid. And we're not saying anybody's story is invalid, right? However, there's no need to be attacking people's opinions. This is our story for us to share. And one thing I was telling Fatmata, I was like, one thing I will not do in this process is feel bad about my story, right?
Or telling it, yes.
Or telling my story. I'm not going to feel bad about it. I have my experience. And even though some of the things I may say, out of us two, as far as speakers, I'm a little bit less filtered sometimes. So she's a little bit more filtered. And so, but I won't apologize for my story. And I've gone through a lot of pain and also a lot of healing to get to this point where even if I hurt one person just by telling them my truth or something that could be useful, I hurt that one person, but on the other side, I may be able to help an adoptee who's experiencing exactly what I'm speaking on, that they are too afraid or too ashamed to even vocalize to their family or the community. If you feel like on the back of your mind, Fatmata was saying you're triggered and you want to say something nasty and mean, maybe you question, why do I feel triggered? Why am I questioning what these ladies are talking about? What personal experience do I have that's making me want to attack what they're saying?
That's perfect, girl.
Right?
Yeah, it's perfect. Because a lot of times when people get triggered, it's coming from a place that you have not faced. And it's not necessarily the person who's saying that thing that's... They're not necessarily the bad person. You have to actually, hold on a minute. Why am I feeling triggered? Question yourself and see where that's coming from. And honestly, it would be a good place for you to maybe, if you have an area in that part of your life where you got to heal and do some digging, that's the first time or first way to actually start that process.
Right. And like I always say, you cannot shoot the messenger. With this channel, we're not saying that adoptees are perfect at all whatsoever.
Oh my gosh.
I know myself, I have put my family through a lot.
Me too, girl. Both of us have put our families through a lot. And we're going to try our best to really show both sides. But then again, we're going to show our side, which is going to be more accurate, and it's going to be harder to portray the adopter's side. In short, we just want to let people know what this channel is for, really.
Finish off what we were saying. We really appreciate Fatmata's family's friends comment. And we appreciate that I actually came so early because it inspired this video. We don't want people to continue to feel like they have to walk on eggshells when they're asking us questions. And on the flip side, we've also had really positive feedback as well. We've even had another one of her friends reach out to her and was like, hey, I was part of a mission culture that was a little bit toxic missionary culture, which we're fully aware of. We're going to talk about that in the future. And she said, I just left that and I was always curious on the other side what it looked like and felt like to be adopted. And so all of the feedback is just amazing. We appreciate it and we want it to continue to keep coming forward. We will not judge your questions as long as you're being respectful.
Just don't come on here and try to be rude, because we can be mean too. All right. Thank you guys. We will see you on our next episode. Till next time. Bye.
Thank you. And last thing, don't forget to subscribe, that button, and then share this podcast with your friends, your family, anyone that you think this could help, or if they're just interested in hearing about two adopted gals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.